John Dunn is going to address this. As we are all aware, there was a significant water main break last night, and he's going to walk through what happened and the good news that things are back on tap.
Back better. Good evening. Just want to kind of walk you through what happened with a little bit of a show and tell. We'll advance here. About 3:30 yesterday afternoon, there was a contractor who was working on the new water plant project, but actually at the existing plant site. They were installing a pair of parallel 24-inch water mains in a highly congested part of the campus. And this is a video from our security cameras at the plant. I want you to keep your eye right here in the corner. What you'll see when the video starts to play, about 6 seconds in, is you'll see behind the fence a backhoe operator raise his bucket, and then you'll see it come down and you'll see that main break. So there goes the bucket up, down, and there it goes. So this was not a garden variety water main break. The volume of water that's released out of a pipe that size, this was an 18-inch diameter pipe, immediately coming out of the high service pump station. So it was running about 110 PSI pressure on it. The amount of water that puts out is tremendous, and within just a few moments there were portions of the distribution system on the east side that had lost pressure completely. So protecting public health is always our number one priority. When that happens, though, it becomes our only priority. Crews from Public Works and the Water and Pollution Control Department immediately began isolating that main, both ends of it, to get it shut down. The process of doing that took us a little over an hour. Once the main had been isolated, then our attention focused then on trying to determine what the areal extent was that was impacted, which areas had pressures drop low enough that we needed to issue a boil water advisory. We had many phone calls coming in, as you might imagine, from something like this happening. And it took us a while. Some of the calls came in, they said they had no water, and as we started piecing together geographically, it didn't make sense, and so we had to make some follow-up phone calls back. Oftentimes we found out, well, we did still have water, but the pressure was a lot lower. That was significant for us to understand that. We did put together a team of 8 folks, the ones that have the most knowledge of the distribution system and the best understanding of what the rules and obligations are for us under a situation like this. And we put together the extent of where that boil advisory needed to be. Here's another video after the hole had completely filled in of what was going on back behind the water plant. This is the area that was included in the advisory. When we make decisions on where to draw the lines in a situation like this, we're walking a tightrope to protect public health. We want to make sure that we include folks that need to be in there to protect them, but in cases like yesterday, there's also decisions we have to make to keep people out to protect public health. Specifically, what we were focusing on last night was, did the hospital and the clinics on Duff need to be in the boil advisory area? Because that would have had a tremendous impact on them if we had included them. Ultimately, we did not need to include them, and about 6 o'clock, the final decision on where the advisory area was going to be was made. The actual advisory was posted around 7 p.m. on the city's website, and it was released to other venues at that same time. Now, we were in full-out public notification mode even before that got posted. In addition to the website posting, there were multiple press releases that went out even as early as 4 o'clock in the afternoon advising about the main break. Messaging went out on the water Facebook page, the police Facebook page, the general city Facebook page. We did activate the Story County, Iowa alert system, so anybody who lives inside the boundaries that we had described and who had signed up for that service would have received either a voice message, a text message, and or an email, depending on what their options were when they signed up. We were making phone calls out of the EOC to commercial and industrial customers to let them know. Crews from the fire department went door to door through the residential neighborhoods not just taping notices to doors, but actually ringing the doorbell, knocking if somebody was there, telling them face-to-face what was happening. Only if nobody answered the door would we just tape it on the door and move on. And while all that was going on, the public works crews were out in these areas flushing the mains. They started about 7:45 with their flushing operations. They were done at 10 o'clock. While the flushing was happening, the lab staff laid out a sampling plan, and literally within minutes of when we got the phone call, we're done flushing, the lab staff had started collecting samples. Those samples were set up. Incubation started at 11 o'clock. It's last night. It's an 18-hour test. So a little after 5, I got the word that all of those samples had passed, and the boil advisory has now been listed. Press releases, again, social media, Story County alerts, all those types of things are being used to inform customers now that the water is again safe to drink. Obviously, no one likes to have a boil advisory. The customers don't, we don't. They're disruptive. They force people to change the way they live their lives. For business customers, they can also be very expensive. But in certain circumstances, it's absolutely the right thing to do. There's a reason that we have the safest water supply in the world in the United States, and it's a part of this multiple barrier approach that we use that includes advisories in situations like that that helps keep people safe. It's also frustrating to customers in the amount of time that it takes to get an advisory out. And that's frustrating to us as well, the time that it takes. But just like leaving somebody out of an advisory area could create a public health risk, again, yesterday, that decision of what had to happen with the hospital was important, and we needed to take the time to get that answer right for them. So I can assure our customers that there was not a single wasted step between the time that main busted and when that advisory went out. I think if we thought sidewalk chalk would have reached one more customer last night, we would have done that. We were doing everything that we had at our disposal. And that leads me to my last comment, which is really a call for customers to sign up for the Story County, Iowa alerts. It's free. You can choose how you want to be notified. And the easiest way to do that is to go to the city's webpage at cityofames.org. And right on the front page, on the right-hand side, there's a red button that says Emergency Alert System. Click on that, and it'll get you signed up for the Story County alerts. So that is my update. I would be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. It's very impressive, fast action, John. Any questions? Does anybody in the audience have any questions for John?
John, I'll tell you that my parents live in one of the 157 houses that were affected by this, and they appreciated the notification. They did get the emergency message from by phone, and it worked exactly like it was supposed to.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Get a good night's sleep tonight.